All right. It's your main man, Dr. Life, in the business of saving lives. First responder, responding to unnatural, artificial, man-made disasters. When my father used to preach all the time, he used to say, I'm not a preacher, I'm a teacher. My father, when he would preach all the time, he would say, I'm not a preacher, I'm a teacher. And character is built on principles. Principles aren't based off of feeling. God don't care how you feel, and neither do we. Nobody cares about how you feel about something. The law of God, who is a husband and a bride that are the creators of heaven and earth, let us create a husband and a bride after our image, after our likeness, created they, them, man and wife. That's what it says in Genesis chapter 1:1. That's what it says. Let us create one love. It says, and Adam knew Eve, and the two became one love. It also says, this is the purpose of man, to leave his mother and father and cleave. Call it the quadruple OG union. The quadruple OG, the quadruple O, the cornerstone womb. The quadruple O, the cornerstone that the builders, that the Egyptians, that the pagans rejected, the womb of Eve, perfect Eve. The cornerstone gem, the greatest gem God has ever created, is the womb of the bride, Eve. Quadruple OG union. In that womb, which is the tree of life, with living fountains of water, land flowing with milk and honey, the Milky Way. You got a substance in the woman called dopamine. Porno stars and prostitutes and hookers and whores, the substance is not released. Why? Because in dopamine, you also find the outpouring of the Holy Spirit. Because it's the highest praise when of the marriage bed, when the husbandman and the bride have followed the instructions of God, and God said, you have dominion. Be fruitful and multiply. You have to engage in the quadruple OG union to follow the command, the very first commandment of God. You have to get into the perfect righteous marriage bed with the only one being that was created to be your spouse, not multiple spouses. It wasn't a man with a man. It wasn't a woman with a woman. Let us create a husband and a bride in our image, after our likeness. You are the bridegroom and I am the bride. So let's create on earth to replace the rebellion in heaven. Let's create a perfect prototype of our archetype. Yes, bride, let's do that. Anything outside of that perfect archetype is ungodly. Any type of sex, any type of anything outside of that perfect prototype of the archetype is ungodly and demonic and devilish. No matter who told you, no matter what they told you, because they ain't the two beings that said, let us create this in our image, after our likeness, and then created it, and then blessed it and said, do this. So anybody that does anything other than what those beings told those two beings to do, you are lawless. You are the deceiver. So, now that we got that out of the way, the very first mention of knowledge. Education ain't knowledge. Because in their educational system, they teach you, do what you want, do what thou wilt, shall be the whole of the law. Love anything and everything under our ungodly law. So you could be educated in this system and be a total ignorant fool. Because God said Adam knew Eve knowledge. Wisdom is at the end of the race being the bald-head golden eagle with the same womb and the same bride and the same wife, with a host of children and a host of grandchildren and a host of great-grandchildren. That's wisdom. And you can start off and have knowledge at the beginning, but you could fumble your blessing and be an ignorant fool. Because God said, I've taken your incompleteness and I made you whole. This is the only thing that completes you. This one. There's not another. There's not multiple. This one. And when you swimming in the womb over there, this one that completes you is swimming in the womb over there somewhere. And only that one completes you. And you have robbed God. When you don't find that one, when you don't look for that one, when you find something else, when you do what you like, what you feel, what you believe, what you think, don't nobody care what you think. Don't nobody care what you think. So let me play for you what the forgotten middle is. And while we doing the Golden Scepter Award for individuals in our hood that still had the same principles, that still weathered the storm, that still strove and tried to give y'all the same exact principles, right? But let me tell you what I was saying about my pop said, I'm not a preacher, I'm a teacher. And in the word of God says for you to understand the word of God, you got to put line upon line and precept upon precept. A precept is a principle. A principle is the character of God. Character is your destiny. The future, now the present, and everything's changed. It seems so different, but it's all prearranged. Character is your destiny as the story's told, related to yourself as the scene unfolds. The future, now the present, and everything's changed. It seems so different, but it's all prearranged. Character is your destiny as the story's told, related to yourself as the scene unfolds. My name is RPG. I'm on the alien bedrock nation. We live in this world. We're not of this world. This world is not our home. Hip-hop is our mic. I am that I am, the will of I am. Hip-hop. You heard me. I am that I am, the will of I am, hip hop. That's who I am. That's who I am. And I'm telling you, we giving Golden Scepter Awards to the other individuals that we identified that are hip hop too. Despite the Russell Simmons Def Jam mockery of who we are and what we do. Despite the Puff and Jay-Z Def Jam mockery, rap nigga mockery. We reject them. We cast them out just like Satan got cast out from heaven. And we give crowns and give golden scepters to the queens and kings that walked the same blocks we walked, that stood on the same principles that we stood on, that had the same mamas and grandmamas that we had, that turned the same exact corners and developed the same exact character. So the forgotten middle. Harvard did a study. I'll tell y'all what it means before I show you the clip. Harvard did a study. We had these things in our communities called Dropout Factory. Dropout Factory is a high school that they know is producing criminals in the same exact neighborhood. A Dropout Factory graduates 60% or less than its graduates. So if 100 students start at the 9th grade, only 60 of those 100 going to graduate. But those 40 going to terrorize that community. 85% of the 40 that drop out, they're going to terrorize the same community that they grew up in. The crack, the dope, the armed robbery, the rape, the pillage, the 85% of that 40. Same neighborhood, same blocks, Dropout Factory. Harvard does a study just before Barack or Michelle Obama hit the White House. They both went to Harvard. It's all about the educational system, all of the numbers, everything. Then a dude comes and makes a documentary based off of the study. Bill Gates and the Bill Gates Foundation, everybody's in it. The #1 educator in Washington, D.C. at the time, she's in it. The #1 charter school in Harlem, New York, he's in it, talking about he bringing a salute. Listen, man, every charter school that they had in the documentary, Barack Obama does a worthless, toothless My Brother's Keeper campaign, brings all of the charter schools from the documentary. But the one high school, my high school, producing 100%. You go to my high school, you going to college prep. 100% Fprgotten Academy. Think Barack Obama came up there? Nah, he had Seventh-day Adventists in his cabinet too. He know. You think fake phony clowns. Yo, your main man, Barry Black, Seventh-day Adventist pastor, Rear Admiral of the Navy, was Rear Admiral of the Navy when Barack Obama was president. When all of this went down and the forgotten middle comes out in the study on what you need to do. So what do you need to do to prevent dropout factories that are producing crime, criminals? Exactly what we did at Fprgotten Academy when we saw E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher and Derek Green and Pucky Fordham and Mason West and the Kane brothers. When we saw Bell Tower Ministry from Oakwood. You say, how we at Palm Forge Academy and we don't got no drama club? Crazy. Palm Forge Academy had phase 1. It ain't good enough to just have a choir. So what you got the choir? You ain't recorded nothing. You ain't dropping no content. Don't nobody know who you are. It ain't good enough. We need to be doing what Bell Tower just came in here and did. Put a shot in the arm. We need to be doing all over the country what Bell Tower, we just see E.T. and Derek Green and them come here in 1991. Same year I met my wife. 1991. Same year that a book dropped. And everybody who wasn't already wise tried to read this book. Rappers tried to read this book and become conscious hip hop. Behold the pale horse. But see, when you ain't spiritually inclined, it don't matter if you read the book, read the pages of Revelation, and then try and write a book on last day events. Listen, the author of the book and the people reading the book, because you ain't filled with the Holy Spirit of the Most High God that gave the revelation to John, yo, you can write what you want about last day events. And that's what happened with William Cooper. So when we read the Behold the Pale Horse, and then we saw Mason West and Derek Green and E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher get on stage in front of us in 1991, we said, when I say we, I'm talking about Damon, Craig Morgan, Kanisha, Lumpkin. We say, yo, we're going to get a world, the last day events on stage, because E.T. and them did a skit called The Great Controversy. E.T. and Derek Green and them, they showed the spiritual battle between Michael's angels and Satan's demons. Do you know that those demons are called jinn? So when Snoop Dogg sing about rolling down the street, smoking Indo, sipping on gin and juice, sipping on gin. They call, okay, when you go to the liquor store, it says beer, wine, and unholy spirits. When you drink Sprite, the tagline says, image is nothing. Thirst is everything. Obey your thirst for the unholy spirits. Sprite. The main ingredient in Coca-Cola was cocaine. This is where they got soft drinks from. You got strong drinks that got spirits in it. And in the early US, they was putting cocaine in everything. Europeans have always been dope heads and drug addicts. And the men kept their wives doped up at the crib to control them. Downers, uppers, barbiturates. And the number one drug of Germany is meth. The number one drug in Germany is meth. To get their soldiers to fight all day and night and never get tired. To get their soldiers to go and go and go. Meth. They gave their whole population meth heads. Dope heads. So when it says beer, wine, and spirits, beer, wine, and spirits. When the word says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, then they put the principalities in your drinks to control you, homie. Put those principalities in what you smoke to control you, homie. Guard the avenues of the soul, the word of God says. And then Snoop Dogg got a nerve to put in his video, murder was the case. My main man, SPI, was the one to point this out on No Jumper. Spider Loc, the only one who was sitting out there like, yo, the dude, he said it. I stopped watching the video. I go pull up Murder is the Case, and I find it, and I cut a whole video on the joint. The dude have a conversation with Satan in the hospital room, man, and sell a soul to Satan on Murder Was the Case, bro. The whole song is about him selling the soul to Satan. And then he got a nerve to say rolling down the street smoking Indo. First of all, in Indonesia, Bangkok, in your anus, Bangkok. They got a shrine in Bangkok. No lie. Shrine in Bangkok. First of all, it's a mountain. It's a mountain where the individuals go to worship, and you just have sex at the shrine with the prostitutes. And then they got a holy place, a holy shrine in Bangkok. No lie. This is where the name comes from. Bangkok. It is the shrine of sodomy. Word up. So when Snoop Dogg say rolling down the street smoking Indo, he telling you he like visiting Bangkok all day, sipping on gin, and he's saying sipping on unclean, unholy spirits. So they speaking in code, and they telling you what the spiritual attack against you is. And it's your choice to decide whether or not you're going to guard the avenues of your soul by what you eating, drinking, smelling, smoking, touching, tasting, having unions with. And if you're going to put on the whole armor of God, so you may be able to withstand the fiery attacks of the devil in these evil days. That's what the word commands you to do. All right, so the Forgotten Middle says when they create an environment to flood your environment with dope, with drugs, with all of the unclean, unfamiliar spirits, they also got a system, an educational system that is producing criminals, artificially manufacturing criminals. And then the study says you can't correct it in the 10th or the 11th grade. It's too late. The study says if you don't get an effect change and get them to do a 180 in middle school, that's why it's called the Forgotten Middle, in middle school. My last child, my 13-year-old, he's in the 8th grade. Okay, so I'm releasing this right now in his 8th grade year. But I've been doing the calendar that we're taking public the whole time since he hit the 5th grade, right after COVID. Soon as he came out of COVID and went back to school, I've been preparing y'all to give y'all what we giving y'all right here, right now. Every year after COVID, after he was in school, boom, I was giving it, boom, 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 doing it privately. So this is the year, this is the final year, we doing it publicly. We gave this to the world in 2008 and 2009 on the highest platform, and they robbed y'all of it. So we calculated the numbers. We calculated the numbers, and we could tell y'all with each class from 2011 up to now how much they owe each and every one of y'all. Then we created our own currency and coin and exchange and banks. To tell you, if you come and take us up on the same exact thing that the NCAA tried to do, they tried to monetize college sports. Oh, yeah? For real? Okay. All right, let's play. Nil. Yeah, they ain't give you nothing. Nil means zero in German. Zero, nothing. Why? Because there's no more value in the US dollar. Hyperinflation. When Barack Obama came into the presidency, the US dollar had already lost 97 cents for every US dollar. So when you talk about your hourly wage, that's why they bumped up the hourly wage, because there's no value in the dollar anyway. When Obama came in 2008, it was only 3 cents in every dollar. Because in 1971, they took you off the gold standard and they made barrels of oil the standard of value on how they base the currency now. Gold, oil don't have no currency, don't have no value though. Gold, created by God, will always have its value, because there's a parable of the 5 talents. And God, who created gold, said, come exchange with me gold tried in the fire. So gold will always have its value. So when you let man tell you that man took you off the gold standard and you ignorantly say, okay, I'm going to join your economy, you have to make that choice. And so you can be freed from that choice when somebody else comes and gives you another option, which is the original option, to take back your inheritance. And so since they've said it's okay to monetize people who play sports in college and high school, we said we ain't stopping. We're gonna apply it to the forgotten middle. We're going to apply it before the forgotten middle to elementary. And since it's legal, we saying we're not only going to get in the game and compete with them to offer you payment to play, but we also going to give you the original currency. That is gold. Havilah gold. The very first economy is spoken of in Genesis chapter 2. That is our economy. Onyx Wall Street, the onyx gemstone, and the Havilah gold, they go hand in hand with what we smoke, frankincense, Kush, frankincense, Kush, frankincense. When you're smoking cannabis, you ain't smoking Kush. You're smoking Anglo-Saxon. You're smoking Cheech and Chong, Pig Latin. You heard me. You smoking Cheech and Chong, Pig Latin, swine Latin, the same swine that he cast the demons out into the swine. You smoking Pig Latin, homie. Cannabis. Oh my goodness. Okay, so forgotten middle. I just explained it. All right. It says start at middle school. Give them the skills that David and Bathsheba had. David was the most prolific hip-hop songwriter ever. And when these fools in the Bronx try and talk about hip-hop started in the Bronx in 1976, listen, man, listen. You don't even do hip-hop, Cool Herc. Houdini and them didn't even do. It was rappers, homie. Stop it. David was the most prolific hip-hop artist. It says David was a man after God's own heart. David drove out demons with his hip-hop. Hip-hop started in the Bronx. Are you kidding me? And I'm going to take you to the verse in 2 Samuel where Hezekiah said, bring me my father's scrolls. And then Hezekiah put a priesthood of a hip-hop symphony together in honor of what his dad and his mama, Bathsheba. He put a priesthood together that only... No, that wasn't Hezekiah. That was David. David. His main man was named Asaph. We're going to call Asaph the symphony orchestra conductor. Asaph and David put the greatest hip-hop symphony orchestra together. It's in 2 Samuel. And we're going to top it right now. David was the most prolific hip-hop artist the world has ever seen, and his wife Bathsheba was equal to him in every way, probably better. And me and my wife, we about to do the same exact thing. Lyric for lyric, instrument for instrument, symphony orchestra for symphony orchestra. We about to do the same exact thing. The Forgotten Middle said, you got to take the arts and recreation, the opposite of what Obama did. Obama cut art programs throughout the country. 2008, when he came in, cash for clunkers and all of that, when he was so-called trying to fix the economy, he cut arts. He slashed everything that they said to do in the Forgotten Middle. He did the opposite, yo. It says in middle school, give them the arts, give them track and field, gymnast, give them anything and everything to get them to stay in school to be able to do the thing that they love. And when they stay in school all the way through 12th grade, they're going to make thousands and thousands and hundreds of $1,000s more, even if they just get a high school diploma. But if you let them drop out, if you let them get disenchanted and drop out, they're going to commit violent crimes in the same neighborhood and community where they live. And they knew it. They knew it. Since 2006, 2007, they knew it. They know it. They used that study and other studies. So I'll reach out to my main man, E.T., because we're going to Crenshaw High School every year. 2006, 2007. We're going to Omaha, Nebraska, 2003. Shout out to the king, my main man, Bud Crawford. We was coming out to Bud's High School in Nebraska, Omaha, Nebraska, in 2003 with E.T. the hip-hop preacher. What? My main man, knockout artist, Terrence Bud Crawford. Then we left Terrence Bud Crawford, knockout artist. And a couple years later, we in Crenshaw every year. Till my main man, Roy, ROI stand for return on investment. Roy mama tragically was found dead in the pool. So we no longer was going back. But the 2 years that we went, it only took me 2 years. I studied the forgotten middle. I studied the solutions. I heard all of the promises that we was making to them and the kids were saying, all we want is a path to go from point A, where we are, and do what y'all talking about doing and break the cycle and go to point B, where E.T. the hip-hop preacher is, owning his own company, going around the country, number one motivation. We want the path. Map it out. I come back to Orlando, Florida. I got a mentoring program. Boom, 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 boom. I bang it out. Then Troy mama dead. We don't go back to Crenshaw. Now I got a blueprint. We no longer going back to Crenshaw. E.T. got to do his thing. E.T. blow up, even bigger. 2 years go by. I'm like, yo, E, I'm going to artificially manufacture what we was doing in Crenshaw right here in Orlando. Sat down, took the blueprint that I had, and Mayor Buddy Dyer had this faith-based matching grant. All right, let's go. I got a blueprint now. Let's go. As soon as I submit it, I get the faith-based matching grant. Boom. Then here come all of these Adventist vultures. Now they want to come to where we at. They want to come to where we at. They want to add on. They want. Come on, man. Stop it. Stop it. Then, because the mayor, everybody talking right, they gave us the grant money, whatever. I go and write the full whole thing, boom, 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 and submit it. Now, nope, nothing. Studio for the kids, Full Sail University, broadcast, sports, year-round sports, recreation, community garden, everything. Economic empowerment, investment, development. What? Now nobody at the table. Crickets. They got documentaries talking about the problem, talking about this and that. Come on, man. We done gave you the solution. We done brought in the number one motivational speaker who breaking cycles in each and every school in the country. Listen, man, every school in the country watching ET in the morning, everything. We done gave you this. We just gave it to them. I'm like, listen, Buddy Dyer, Demings, yo, just use Orlando tomorrow. I'll let y'all eat. Yo, you want to build a political career off it? I'm going to let you eat. Yo. When you in Babylon, you can't even bless Babylonians. You hear me? Can't even bless Babylonians. So now we here 2025, and we bypassing all of the middlemen, like Nip said. And it's proud to pay campaign. He like cut out the middleman, homie. We're going straight to the people, yo. Every single thing that Nick was trying to do, we already had in that year-round program, 2008, 2009, every single component. And then some. Every single thing, every single principle that he taught, everything about wealth, every single thing that he stood on. We've been trying to give it to the world. So then when they took his life, no more trauma. You done took Tupac, you done took Biggie, you done took Dr. Martin Luther King, you done took Malcolm X. Listen, if y'all gonna keep laying down, when the individuals that's willing to lay their life down to set you free, and then you keep letting these little mamby-pamby crabs that want lawlessness silence the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, you ain't worthy of them. No more trauma. He silenced Bob Marley, took Bob Marley life. So One Love IMG, I'm giving voice back to all of the individuals that they silenced and all of the individuals that they done traumatized in the system of lawlessness, trying to prevent the sons and daughters of God from shining, for everybody to get makeovers and be made whole, so that everybody could be lawless and the lawless party continue forever. Nah, it ends. It's over with. Golden Scepter Award. We're going to name, starting with Nas and Yasser, starting with my wife and my children. Start with my wife and my children. Okay? Who also took the principles that our mothers and our grandmothers instilled in us. And when I put it in their life, my children stood on it faithfully. My children, everything I asked my children to do and be and do, they did it. So whatever shortcomings that the world wants to try and say and point out and highlight, first of all, let me tell you something about our crew. We deal with anything, any faults or whatever. We always deal with them in-house. Can't no outsider expose nothing. Can't no outsider deceive, whatever. It's whatever my children end up doing. Whatever my wife end up doing. You can ask any of my peoples, my brethren and my sisterin. When it was time to knuckle up and individuals said they had a problem with my brethren or my sisterin, you can't have no problem with none of mine. I don't care what they did. You can't have no problem with none of mine. You the problem, and we're going to fix the problem. I don't care what they did. You outside this circle, you don't get to have no problem with none of mine. Ain't no problems with none of mine. That don't exist. And then when we get back to the room, me and mine, I'm going to pull stillborn aside and be like, yo, son, you wild out, homie. If I got a body slam tip, then I'm going to body slam you in private. You ain't going to know that I dealt with it. You ain't going to hear about nothing. You ain't going to see nothing. It ain't going to be no disloyalty, no nothing. You don't get to have no problem with none of mine. You don't get to speak on none of mine. They perfect. No matter what they did, no matter where they went, no matter where they been, they perfect. You ain't train them up. You ain't teach them. You ain't asked them to serve and they went and served. You don't get to have no problem with mine. And whatever I need to deal with, I'm going to always deal with. You ain't got to worry about that. You can't tell on mine. You can't expose nothing on mine. It ain't no fight that I'm not going to fight for mine. And you can't have none of mine. They all going to the kingdom. They all perfect. And they all going to the kingdom with me. You can't put no smut on none of mine. They perfect. Everything I asked them to do, they did. above and beyond what you can ask or think. You can't say nothing about mine. And it's always been like that. And it always will be like that. So if you want to be a part of our exclusive Root family group, this is a once in an everlasting lifetime opportunity. And it only is going to come once. Forgotten middle.
I want to go to college to get an education. If I have kids, I want kids to be in this environment. Like around here. I mean, I want my kids to have better than what I had.
I'm just so afraid for him. I cry for him sometimes because I know he can easily be influenced to do things that he shouldn't do.
I stayed back one grade and it was in the second grade. What? Because my father had passed.
Next year, Anthony's class will move up to junior high. Most will go to John Philip Sousa, which the Washington Post called an academic sinkhole. If Anthony goes to Sousa, odds are he will enter high school 3 to 5 grade levels behind. Anthony's class visits the Seed School, the first urban public boarding school in the country.
To come to Seed, geography and luck, that's it. You have to live in the district, you have to pull out a bingo ball, call your number.
It's bittersweet to me. If I get in, they give me a better chance in life. But if I don't, I just be with my friends.
You see the cages up here. It's a random selection. You all have your numbers, right?
Let's get started. $20. 10.
'Banking education. They had it in the documentary. Okay? And then they don't even give you no banking information, education. Our program gives every person in it the wealth that God has given you. I'm gonna say it again. The parable of the talents, God said, I have given every one of you a measure of golden talents. Now, because of the way that they preached to you on purpose, they make you believe that the talents is like the fruits of the Spirit. It's your gifts, your spiritual gifts. Why? Because they don't want you to know that God is saying, I have given every one of you a measure of wealth. A golden talent was the currency that the royals carried. Just like there's $1,000 bills. You could go to the bank and you get $1,000 bills. And then you could get a roll of banknotes with all $1,000 bills in it. But only wealthy individuals who don't want to be carrying around stacks and stacks and stacks of 20s go and get those $1,000 bills. The $1,000 bills is in the U.S. economy. Now, how many people do you see walking around with $1,000 bills? Very few. Because how many people are walking around with the amount of volume? Very few. The parable of the golden talent is that. God said, I have given every one of you And when his son was born, 3 kings each brought the wealth of their kingdom. Their economies was fueled on the item that they each brought in their kingdom. And they traded between each other. One brought gold. Their whole economy was the richest golden economy in the world. So they brought the gold for the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. The other one brought the frankincense. They had the greatest frankincense crop, which was priceless in the world. The other brought myrrh. The oils. It says Queen Esther was bathed in oils for 360 days. The number one economy, the number one spa economy, the number one economy with the baddest women in the world. This king represented the economy of Ham. Cush, where our mothers come from. When Mary Magdalene came and with the alabaster box, the oils, the greatest oil producing kingdom in the world. And when they came to worship, they brought the most priceless, valuable thing that they could bring out of their kingdom and gave it to the King of Kings at his birth. And God turned around and said to you, I do the same thing to each and every one of y'all. He said, I am the one that created gold, so I'm only going to deal with the gold. I'm going to let my bride deal with the silver. I've given each one of you a measure. And the bride gives y'all, each one of y'all, a measure of the silver from our economy. In your bodies, you worth your weight in gold and silver. In your body, you got the gold that he was talking about. You got the silver in your body. On the periodic table. When you go in science, you got gold and silver. This is what he was talking about. This is why he says your body is the temple of God. And when you defile your temple, you defile the gold. When you defile your temple, you defile the silver. You become worthless. You become common. Then they can enslave you because you have fumbled and squandered and defiled your birthright. I have given each one of you a measure of golden talents in your body. You worth your weight in gold. If you weigh 8 pounds or 8 ounces. If you were, 8 pounds when you was, listen, there's a calculation that we've been doing based off of the gold of our economy, the Havilah gold. Each and every one of y'all is worth your weight in gold, and then we take it and we put it into coins. And so you don't have to carry around the coins no more. We do a wedding feast of tabernacles every year. And then we exchange with each other and we enrich each other. And then during this week, we printing the bills. Just like they created their own fake artificial Bitcoin economy. We got the hollow coins economy. We saw what they did to Nipsey Hussle. Nipsey Hussle went out to Amsterdam, invested hundreds of thousands in a Bitcoin scam, follow coins. And I immediately began creating your hollow coins. Immediately, when I seen what they took from Nip, we're going to give Nip's family and you everything they took and then some. But I'm giving my family first. So all of these clowns out here in this circle this past year that came and tried to jump on the bandwagon with this Juby coin. Let me set the record straight. because individuals know that I support individuals from our community. They all know. Everybody from our community, from our high school and our college, from Pine Forest and Oakwood, they all know, yo, Dame support his peoples. And our peoples, they support Dame. So, and my track record has always been spotless. So it's not out of the ordinary that somebody would approach me from Oakwood University with a project, financial or whatever. Yo, Thomas Felder approached me in 2015 and 2016. Saucony Scott approached me in 2015 and 2016. And we did 200 million both years. Edward Martin approached me in 2015 and 2016 with 5 links. That's what people from our community, they do. They get at me. So because we got a dirty, rotten snake from our community, because our community don't like how I've been standing on their neck, the truth is the truth. You can't put no smut on my name, homie. This goes to the clown named Melvick from Atlanta. This goes to Anthony McKinney from Atlanta with the Juby coin. You can't put smut on my name, but even deeper, this goes to Delbert Baker. This goes to Anthony McKinney's brother, Brian McKinney. This goes back. Yes, President Delbert Baker. Yes. President of Oakwood when we was there. The supposed technology dude, who his son Ben Baker is supposed to be the Seventh-day Adventist historian. Ben don't know nothing about nothing. And then his other son's supposed to be the technology dude, and that's who run with this dude Melvick and this dude Anthony McKinney, who after all of this time I've been exposing the clowns that's getting up in the pulpit in their circle. Because you're not going to get up in the pulpit in earshot of my children and say what you want to say. Of course, I'm going to gun down whatever you're saying. You walk the hollow grounds that I walk, and you think I'm going to let you say anything in the world? And my kids is listening? No. Not Barry Black. Not Delbert Baker. Not the present, not the current pastor at Oakwood. Right now. Who used to pastor over on First Church. Who trying to resurrect and relive that which Pastor James Doggett and Madison Mission did on Oakwood campus. I don't even got to say your name, homie. Not Buddy Bird. None of these. And then any of y'all that didn't go to Oakwood, any Seventh-day Adventist, anywhere. This goes for Pete Carnegie. Pete Carnegie down here at Celebration Hospital. Any Seventh-day Adventist anywhere in the world that didn't go to Oakwood, didn't go to Pine Forge Academy. If you just happen to be a Seventh-day Adventist somewhere, first of all, if you're a person of color, Seventh-day Adventist, and you didn't go to Oakwood, If you're a person of color in the Seventh-day Adventist church and didn't go to Oakwood, the people that run the Seventh-day Adventist church globally all went to and came from Oakwood University. That's hands down, bottom line. All of the evangelists who have ever come through and ever done anything, C.E. Brooks, C.D. Brooks, E.E. Cleveland, Oakwood University. So if you are not from Oakwood University and you are a Seventh-day Adventist and person of color, you are a spectator and a bystander. And then if you went to Oakwood, but you didn't go to Pine Forge Academy also, within that exclusive club, you already know what time it is. I ain't got to tell you nothing. You already know what time it is. I don't got to say nothing. I don't got nothing. Period. So when Adventists, especially who are not in the circles that I just named, try and have an issue or a problem with whatever I have been doing, you don't know who you're playing with. Obviously, you don't know who you're playing with. So in 2025, going into 2020, I'm going to show you who you've been playing with. I'm going to show you what God's son looked like. I'm going to show you what Michael and his angels fighting looks like. I'm going to show you what E.T. and Derek Green, I'm going to show you the great controversy, not in skit form, in supernatural reality. This is what I've been preparing my whole life for. In 2025, somehow, some way, individuals, I don't know if they thought they was going to silence me. I don't know what individuals thought. I guess individuals thought I wasn't going to remember. I wasn't going to be able to finish the course, finish the race. But like E.T. said, extreme execution is worshipped. Extreme execution. I got one better, E. Supernatural execution. Supernatural. All right? So the forgotten middle solution is my gift to you, the world. And my package is my bride and my children. They got their own store. If I could go and work for years for Sam Walton, and if I could put wealth on the table of the children of Sam Walton, you got to be out your freaking mind. And if you think that you're going to stop me from doing more for my wife and my children in Dr. Zion Life Mark than I did every day, going to UPS at 3 a.m. in the morning, getting off at 3 a.m. in the morning, and then driving to Walmart from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. If you think that I would give that to UPS and Walmart and not at some point in my life stop and say, yo, Sam Walton is not perfect, but my wife is. Sam Walton's children are not perfect, but my children are. I could get up every morning and punch a clock and put food on their table. And then me and E.T., we're going to go across the country in 2016, and we're going to challenge some people of color to go into business and just own it and put up $200 million in profit into the pockets of our people. And you're going to allow me to see that I could say something to my brother about a inspiration and a marketing platform that we could put together in a community involving our people. And I could tell him we could do it, then go get with Saccone and Thomas and then put it together and then do it. And then we do $200 million in 1 year profit above what they did the year before with the content that we created. And I'm going to be content to do that for somebody else and not do that for me and mine. So, the hollow coins. It's the same concept that all of y'all got Coinbase. All of y'all got all of these apps now. All of y'all got Cash App. All of y'all use these digital platforms. This is currency exchange. God said, come exchange with me gold tried in the fire. I took the biblical commandments, every financial biblical commandment, and wrote it into the code of what I'm giving you here in this 7-day period. We're having a talent burn. Bitcoin, they do token burns. Ethereum, they do a token burn. And when they do token burn, it increases the value of all of those who took advantage of getting the token before they burned it, because it's scarce now. Meaning you don't have an endless opportunity to get your talents from us. We're going to give you a small window, and then we're going to do a talent burn. Everybody who took advantage of the thing, whatever amount it was when you started, it's going to skyrocket. The value, your money, your dollars, your money. It's the only currency that you could put your money into and increase the value of it. Because you fell for the deception that somebody could take you off of your currency. So if they took you off of it in 1971, then we could put you back on it in 2025. It's that simple. If you want it, this is the time to get it. And then we're going to give you back the image of God. Hollywood Studios is launching. We go to an exotic place in the world during this Golden Scepter week. And we go and we shoot photo shoots, fashion shows, photo shoot, the perfect image. And we do the makeover. We do the makeover for my bride, do the makeover for my children. We do the photo shoots of the makeover. In the greatest love story never told, Queen Esther and King Darius. And then we tell y'all who around the world, in each city, in each neighborhood, while y'all participate in our One Love IMG neighborhood games during this whole weekend, this whole festival, and win the greatest singers and the greatest dancers and the greatest cheerleaders and the greatest athletes. We do a Hollywood star search. And we let y'all audition, and we let y'all try out, and we let y'all compete, and we let y'all battle in this Game of Thrones in the hip hop neighborhoods all across the country and all across the world. We're not leaving our brothers and sisters out in third world countries all across the world. all across the world where we've already been coming and ministering and witnessing to and doing plays and skits. Yo, it wherever. And every year, this is what we gonna do. Ain't no ball dropping in New York. We do a fashion week to show you what the image of God look like. And going forward, we shooting a movie a day. So this audition is real. This is an opportunity to get paid an annual salary in our currency. You could win a spot on one of our basketball teams, on one of our volleyball teams, on one of our baseball teams, on our track and field. We have so many different ways where you can come into our economy and get an annual salary that gives you your inheritance and your talents back. That God said you're worth your weight in. Havila gold. We call it SlumDOGS HAVILLIONHEIRs. Modeling, acting. We got a star search. We got auditions in every hip hop neighborhood across the country and across the world. In this small little 8 days. And we are beginning the Hezekiah. Because if you haven't been on the contract, the covenant, it don't matter if we clean you up. If you don't put the principles in you to prevent the strong, if you don't bind up the strong man with the principles of God, you wasting your time being in our economy. That's why he says it calls you to come all the way out. You got to leave the old behind, and you got to be willing to transform and transfigure. TNT. Neonics, dazzling neonics, TNT. The N in between the two T's is neon, neonics, gemstone. The shine on an onyx gemstone, we call it neonics. Transformation, transformers and transfigurations, Tron. Or Transformers and Thundercats. TNT, Transformers and Thundercats. Y'all got it? Let's get it. Yo, we hooping. All right? We hooping. We balling. For a shot to get paid. For a shot to model. Listen, we pay in 4 different ways too. Okay? So listen, if you get a spot on the team, right? That's one payment. Right? Then there's individuals that's younger than you. So then we're going to pay you to coach them. That's 2 payments. We're also going to have you model your own numbers, your own jerseys, your own sneakers, your own everything. Modeling contract, covenant. Then everybody has to be a lifesaver. You have to be in the business of saving lives. We're going to pay you to go with us around the world and save lives in our lifesaver. You got to train too. You got to train hard, probably harder in the life-saving program than you do in the sport that you play. 4 streams, guaranteed 4. And then the 5th one is the talent that God has already invested in you. There go your 5 talents right there. You may not play a sport, but it may be cheerleading. It may be something digital. Hollywood Studios. So of course we have careers. Film, digital media, animation, gaming, web design, you name it. So you may be doing that skill for the sports that's being broadcasted in our league. And then all of the other ones apply. If you're doing a skill, you've mastered a skill, and we hire you, then we also want you to teach and train and mentor someone younger than you trying to do the same thing. Then we want you to model One Love IMG. Model what you're doing. Then we want you to be a lifesaver with us too. It don't all have to be in front of the camera. It's not all physical. We have the performing arts, but we also have the fine arts. Fine arts are the people who are the creators. The performance arts are the people who get in front of the camera and perform. We do both. And we pay top dollar for both. And we're going to get started right now with my wife first. And y'all can join us every single day, all for the next 8 days. All right? Y'all ready? Let's go.